This is continuation of our previous sessions on Pandas data analytics. So in our previous session we learned what is meant by Pandas and how can we use all these predefined functions, and we now we know what is the usage of describe, how can we read the data from Excel, and same as what is the difference between LOC and ILOC, and in the same way we learned what is meant by index and many all the things, and we came to know we tried to apply these things on this Excel data library raw data Excel. So we understood this data contains a lot of empty values, null values, as well as inconsistent values, if you see. So we learned how can we know these details by using these predefined functions. You can check my previous videos. If you are new to Python, you can check my all previous videos. So it will contain the basic details and required things to understand. Now we will move to next part on Pandas. How can we fine tune this existing library raw data? As we seen, I will show you once again what is this Excel contains actually, this read Excel. So what we will do is I will run describe command against to read this read Excel, as earlier I mentioned this in my previous class. So we will run it. So what it will give, actually this will give all the details of that particular Excel data. So if I say include all, this will gives us complete details, right? So this is the data. If you observe, book number is one column. This contains 731 rows, whereas book name contains 768 rows, and same goes to you can. So now we understood this Excel data contains not proper rows, row counts, as well as there are some nan values as well as some null values are there. Now we will see how can we fine tune this particular raw data, and how can we apply how can we derive something on top of this data basically. So before this, what we will now we will see how can we see what are the null values in each particular column. So to do that, we have is null function, already predefined function is there, so we can utilize that one. So now I will try to print the all null values. Print read Excel. Read Excel is the our data read Excel is our variable where we have all the things. Read Excel dot cost. For example, I want to see is null. Now we will run this command series object has no read Excel. So now now we will fine tune our library raw data. So first we will see how can we know what are the null values in one of the column. For example, now I want to know read Excel is data frame. Read Excel dot we have one column cost, right? Read Excel dot cost dot is null. Not so we will see. We will run this one. Now we will get true or false. Basically, see if you see this is output of this line. We are saying read excel dot cost dot is null, whether that cost is null or not. So if it is null, it will return true, otherwise we will get false. So if you see, this is in this our cost column, we have around 16th. This row is a null row, empty, so we got false. Sorry, this is around 20 index, and even we got 11th index also empty. So this wherever we have null values we got true. If we have some value in that row we got false. So now this is the way we can get all the null values on any column basically, and you can apply the conditional logic also. Basically you can write I want to return C not equals to false, so I want all the true values only. Now this is null. So now we need to filter this one. Read Excel. Now we are trying to print all the rows which rows have the cost value as empty. So after running this statement we got this output, right? So if you observe, these are the rows, we in this rows cost is empty. So we got only few number of rows, that rows contains cost value as empty. So if I change this one to true, now we will get almost 734 rows. Now we got it. So these are all the rows which contains cost values not empty, right? Now we understood how we can identify what are the null columns, null rows in our data frame and against to some particular series. Series is nothing but as a column, right? So in this case we tried to print all the cost rows. We are against to this seasonal after applying this seasonal, and against to we applied some conditional logic in against to one series in data frame. So now what I will do is, so if you observe, our data frame means this raw data contains 6 rows, right? So if you observe, book number contain one space as well as book name contain one space, but type, date and cost doesn't contain any space, so that I can easily access those column names without doing modifying those column names. So in the same way how we access this cost, if you try same thing on book number, because book number contains one space, what will happen? Normally I should get an error while I am trying to access book number column. So I can't give like this. I will get an error saying invalid syntax. See, now if I try to access like this also, I will get a runtime error saying this book number has no attribute, this data frame has no attribute with book number, but we have one book number column in our Excel data, right? So to access this book number, book name and given to columns, what I will do is we should modify that column names in such a way that we can utilize that column names same as cost. So to do that, we will apply some logic basically on all the columns. If you see, this is the one statement, read Excel, this is the data frame dot columns. This will gives us basically what are the columns we have in our data frame. So after running this, you can see all the column names. These are the column names: book number, book name, type, date, given to and cost. All are the object type of kind, and these are the column names. So but unfortunately we can't access book number column because book number or book name are given to columns, because those columns contains space, right? So now what we will do is we will apply one logic against to these columns so that we can access. So what I will do is read Excel dot columns. So I am trying to modify all the column names. Basically wherever I have space, I will try to replace that space with some underscore or something like that. Before that I am trying to modify all the column names to lowercase. On top of that I am applying replace command, replace function. So what I am trying to replace with space, I am saying replace with underscore. Wherever space is there, replace with that this underscore. For column in where in read Excel our data frame columns. If you see, this is lambda expressions basically. If you know lambda expression, this is easy. This is what we are saying. We are assigning read Excel column names. We are reading, this is like a kind of for loop lambda expression basically on this columns is list. On this list we are looping each and every item, and on each item we are applying this logic basically. See, this is the column, right? These are the column will contain some list of columns, some items. On each item, we are looping through and we are applying this condition, right? In this condition, what we are saying, we are saying replace this space value with this underscore wherever applicable. So what we will do is we will apply this, we will run this. So it got successfully completed. Okay, I missed some spelling. Read Excel. Here it is. So we will run this once again. So it got executed successfully. Now what we will do is we will try to print the column names. Print read Excel dot columns. So what I am doing, after modifying this, I am trying to print, and this what I will do is I will print before applying and after applying. So we will see. See, if you observe, this is the print statement output. This is book space number, book space name, as well as given space 2. After we applied this logic on these columns, after that we are printing again our column values, right? Now what I got, we are seeing wherever space is there, we are seeing some underscore, book underscore number, book underscore name, as well as given underscore 2. Now we will try to access this book number. Previously, whenever we tried with book space number, we got an error. Now I am trying to access. Let's try to print read Excel. This is our data frame. On this data frame we have, so book, see, now we got all the book number, book name also. Previously we used it not appeared in our list, right? Now we got the book number here itself. Now if you run, we should not get any error, it should execute properly. So now it got executed, right? Book number got executed. So we got all the book number values. So what we done is, first, to fine tune our raw data, first we should access our columns. So to do that, wherever space is there, I changed it to book underscore number, and now I am able to access with that underscore changed column name. Hope now you understand how to access column names series in data frame whenever we have some issue or some space kind of issues. So where any kind of issue, like now we dealt with this space issue. In another case you can face some other issue. You can apply any logic on your particular columns by using data frame dot columns, and you can apply your own logic. After applying your own logic, you can access each and every series in your data frame, right? Now we learned accessing of our data frame columns. Now what we will do is we will move to another problem and we will fine tune that thing also. So another problem we have is, if you observe book number, consider this book number rows. So we have book number is normally integer values, as well as we have some empty values, as well as we have some strings values, right? So what I will do is I will try to use this book number in one of I will try to plot this book number data in graph. So directly without fine tuning our book number column data. So to do that I will use matplotlib. This one already I imported this library. So what I will do is I will use that matplotlib library. I will provide what I need to plot. I am trying to plot my book number data without fine tuning, right? So book underscore number is my column name, right? So I am providing this book number column to this plotting matplotlib library, and after that I will show this. I will try to show this graph. So if you observe, this book number data contains numeric as well as some empty values as well as some invalid data. So whenever I trying to use this data into one graph, what will happen we will see. Basically what we will get now is we will get an error basically. So now what we are doing, we are providing book number column to this plotting, and we are trying to view that graph basically. Let execute this one. Now what will happen, I got some big error. So this is a big error information. This error we encountered because our data in our book number column not fine tuned. Because of this inconsistency we are unable to derive anything with existing data. You got it right now. So what I tried, I am giving this book number data to this plotting graph. Basically I am trying to giving input to the graph to this book number, but unfortunately I got an error because our data is not proper without fine tuning. So what we will do is let comment this one for now. So let's try to fine tune this data on this book number. Okay, how can we fine tune this book number data? So this book number is basically what we are saying, this is basically integers, right? So we in wherever empty space or some strings are there, what I will do is I will try to replace those things with nan, nan, not a number. Okay, to do that what we need to do is we will apply some already existing provided by read excel dot book number. We are applying on this book number series basically. So we have in pandas we have one predefined function to numeric. So we are trying to convert all the book number rows values to numeric basically. So to numeric, wherever panda encounters error, we are saying replace with nan. So now what we done is we are trying to modify all the book number row data into numeric data. So before this applying, once again try to print this one. we will see what will be the output before applying our logic to numeric function. Okay, because we need to apply that underscore logic before accessing with that book number. Now apply this one. Now it got executed successfully, and now we will try to plot the graph. We are providing same book number to this plotting graph input to this graph. Let's see what will happen. If you have any questions, let me know. See, now I got some graph, right? It is completely against to index as well as book number. So now before applying this one, if I try to execute our code, we are encountering one problem because of inconsistent data in book number, right? So for to eliminate that inconsistent data, what I done, we executed we used two numeric functionality so that our book number data fine-tuned, properly converted all the empty values into nan, as well as wherever we have string values, those are also converted to nan. Because of that, we are able to derive some graph here, right? Once again, I will reiterate. First, before applying this one, our logic, before applying logic, I am trying to print all the book number data. If you see, we have some string value instead of integer, right? 751 columns, 762 columns. We have some string values instead of integers. So because of this, we are unable to give this data to any graph and we can't derive anything, right? So to eliminate these string values, what I applied two numeric functionality on this book number column. So after that, we will try to print this data. After applying, you can observe difference clearly. See now, 762 column contains nan instead of string. So previously this is our output. If you see, 762 column row contains some string value, but after applying our logic here to numeric, now we got all the nan values, not a number. So now we given this book number to our Python graph as an input. Now we are able to derive something on top of book number, right? We got some graph also. Hope you understood now. So on top of this, what I will do is, now we have some nan numbers, right? So I don't want to see these nan numbers in my graph. Instead of that, what I will do is I will try to remove all the nan rows from our data frame. Basically, to do that, what we can do is, we can apply drop na. We have one function drop na. Let's comment this one for now. So what we done, we converted all book number values to numeric. On top of that, we are trying to remove we will drop all the nan rows from our data frame basically. To do that, we can apply data frame, that is read Excel. We have drop na. Drop na is predefined function. Drop na will take input on which drop na should apply. You can apply on any column or you can apply on rows also. So to differentiate that, we have one axis. If you provide axis equals to 0, that means you are applying to against this drop na against to all the rows. If you provide axis equals to 1, that means you are applying this drop na against to column, that is completely on series basically. So now what we are trying to do, I want to remove all the na rows in our data frame, nan rows. Whichever rows contains nan values, I am trying to remove all the nan rows from our data frame. So now I am saying I am applying on rows, and we have another input, that how. What is this input means? How, whether I need to search for any nan in our data frame or I should search for all the nans. That means, for example, if we have this for example, I have one in my first row, in first column I have nan, but in second column I have some data, and in third column also I have nan. Okay, and in second row I have some, in first column I have nan, and all the columns I have nan. So how this any means, in any of the column, if Python sees any nan, it will drop it. If we say all, that means nan should be appear in all the columns basically, then only it will drop that particular row. In our case, I want to drop any column value, any series value from our data frame. Okay, so that way I will say any if any column contains nan value, please drop it, I am saying. And we need to provide another parameter in place. This is force kind of thing. Just drop it on this data frame itself. Apply this on this data frame itself. True. Now if you see this output, we have some nan rows, right? 755, 756, 762. What we, after applying this, we will try to print this basically. So I should not get these rows because I am applying this I am dropping all the nan rows from our data frame. Even though I am applying this drop na on all the columns, not to any specific column. because I am saying any, that means if any column contains nan value, please drop it. So let's execute this one. Now if you see, previously we got almost 768 rows including nan rows before applying our logic, dropping our nan rows. After applying we got only 591 rows. So if you see, we don't have any nan related kind of data in our data frame now, right? So this is drop NA used to drop all the irrelevant data from our data frame basically. So on top of this you can apply, you can give this to any input and you can derive proper whatever you derive on against to this data, you will get proper values basically, not like previous data. Hope you got it. So first what we done, we fine tuned our column names in such a way we can access those columns. After that what we done, we applied some numeric converted or based on our required data type. In this case we converted book number to all numeric values and we enforced wherever empty or some invalid data there, wherever invalid data is there we applied to nan. After that we removed those nan rows from our data frame. After that we given this in data to our graph basically. Now if you see, in this case I given input for this graph only book number. Now what I will do is I will give another column also, for example cost. Okay, cost to, now I am giving in book number and as well as cost to this graph basically. Now let's try to execute what will happen. See, now I got an error. I hope you can figure this out. Why I got an error? Because I fine-tuned the only one column data, that is book number column data only. I not yet touched any cost related data. That means I not fine-tuned cost data and I am using that cost data into some another mechanism. Now let's, whether what I am saying is right or not, let's try to see. Now what we will do is, instead of this book number, let's try to print cost values. So this cost data contains some invalid data maybe. See, if you observe on 17th index we have some string value. Because of this we are unable to give this cost to input to our graph, right? So I need to modify this cost column also before deriving something, right? So what we can do is we can apply same thing to numeric or to there are lot of functions are there we can apply. At this moment I will apply the same thing to our cost also. I will try to modify our cost column data also to numeric. Now let's see. Now I should not get any inconsistent data in my column. See, now there are no string values compared to See, on 17th index previously we used to have some string value, but that 17th column itself removed because first we applied this one nan. This will make that 17th row contains as nan. After that we applied this one dropping. Because of this 17th row got removed from our data frame. That's why while I am trying to print this cost column data, I am not seeing that 17th row index. Now what we will do is we will try to give this book number as well as cost column values to our graph. Now still I have some issue. Still we have some issue. What is this? Okay, here I provided C capital, but I modified all the things to lowercase, right? So now let's try to execute once again. Now we got the output. See, the graph got changed now. So this graph is against to cost and book number. We got this graph on top of cost and book number. So now I hope you understood. I hope you understood how can we fine tune our columns, our data basically. Now we fine tuned book number as well as cost. So now we will move to some another column. In our library we have interesting column called date. This date series contains all the date fields, right? Now how can we fine tune this data, we will see now. So what I will do is we can apply same logic here. I will copy paste. Instead of cost I will mention our date field. Instead of numeric, what we will do is I will try to modify to date time. Date time. So instead of cost we need to specify our column. So same way how we applied to numeric, we can utilize to date time. What it will do, wherever in our date column, for example this row, as well as if date column contains any invalid strings or something, instead of any date it will replace all with nan. Wherever it unable to Python Panda unable to convert that particular value to date time, there it will replace with nan, not a number. After that what we are doing, anyway this statement will drop all the nan related rows from our data frame, right? So what I will do is instead of cost, let me give date. See now if you observe, this is the date value, this is date with book number, right? Book number only, book number and date are the inputs for this particular graph. If you see, we are able to derive something based on our data, our fine-tuned data. After fine-tuning our data, we can see some graph here basically. So now we understood how to modify, how to fine tune, how to figure it out is whether our data contain null values or how can we drop nan rows and how can we convert to particular data type, right? Now what we will do is we will go to some more deep into our time date field. Basically what now I will try to do is for now I will comment this one. Now I want to see this date. Now this date is like this, right? This is basically month, day and year. So now what I will do is I want to apply some, instead of this date I want to see if it is Monday 0, if Monday to 0 to 6, Monday, Tuesday, in such a weekdays. I want to group by weekdays instead of date period. So for to do that, what I will do is I will derive weekdays. I will apply on read Excel. Basically our data frame, date is our column, date is our data series. On top of that we have dt dot weekday. Okay, this will give 0 or 1, 0 to 6, right? So after that what we will do is now what it will do, it will give me all, it will convert all the data to 0 to 6. Let's try to print this one. You can see the output. Basically output will be, let's try to comment these two lines so that we can see directly output of that weekdays. Instead of date values, now if you observe I am seeing 5, 0, 3, 4. This is from 0 to 6, that means Monday to Sunday, right? Now I have one data, particular data that contains all 0 to 6. Now what I will do is I will try to assign this weekdays series to existing data frame. What is our existing data frame? That is read Excel. So I am trying to add another column. Series means another column, right? I am trying to add another column to existing columns. So we have assign. If you see assign, I am assigning another new column to existing data frame. What is my new column? We can specify any week is week number. Let's say week number is my new column name. This is the column name and I am saying use this data, weekdays data. So now my data frame will contain book number, book name, type, date, given to, cost, as well as now I should get another column name called weekdays, right? Now I am assigning new column, right? Now try to print column names of our data frame. Our data frame is read Excel and I am trying to print columns. So what I will do is, for our understanding purpose, we will try to print before adding our column and after adding our column. Now execute this one. if you see, we got an error. We missed this one. We should assign, right? So now we will try to execute. Now if you see, before assigning, this is the, we have these many columns. After assigning week number, we got another column in our output. So this output contain, after adding, before adding, we got only 6 rows, 6 columns. After that, we got week number also into our columns, right? So now we got the, we created one new series into existing series, right? Now we know how can we add one new column to existing data frame. Now in this case, we added one new column called as week number that will contain all, basically 0 to 6, Monday to Saturday, Monday to Sunday, basically, right? Now what we will do is, I want to apply, I want to do some analytics on against to this weekdays. So I want to group by, basically I want to group by based on this week. So let's count all the things in our data frame based on our week number. So now what I am trying to do, I am grouping by using week number. Week number is my column name, newly added column name. On top of this group number, I am applying group by class, right? So if you print this, you can see the group, how it will, we are applying, see. So our data frame contains with 0, we have these many rows. With 1, we have these many rows. That means what? With Monday, we have these many rows. So that means on Monday, we given book to someone. 79 books we given on Monday. On first, we given 83. Up to Sunday, we given 80 rows. So now we understood how can we apply group by class on any data series. And what we will do is, we will, instead of this book number and book name, right, we will try to give this count. So instead of this data frame data, what I will do is, I will use this group by, already we calculated this count object, right? So I will use this count object in my plotting graph, basically. See, we got some interesting graph. This is based on 0 to 6, or that is Monday to Sunday, how many books we lended, how many books we given. So on Monday we given 79, on Sunday we given this much, and Saturday we given 86 books, right? See, this is how we can apply our data analytics on our raw data. Now we learned many things. You can apply your own logic, and you can apply all these interesting topics in your while doing your data analytics. I hope you understood properly. So let me recollect everything. So in our previous sessions we learned Python. After that we learned how to install, how to import libraries into Python environment, our local environment. After that we learned about pandas, basic functionalities, and numpy, what is panda, and those things we learned. After that, in today's session we learned how can we apply data analytics on our raw data, how can we fine tune, and how can we utilize those raw data into our data analytics, right? Thank you.